Welcome to Section 6, where we're working on order of operations. In this video, we're going to be given some worked out solutions to some expressions, and we have to explain the error that occurred in their calculations, and then write the correct answer. So let's remind ourselves of the order of operations. We always start off with doing the brackets first. Then we move on to do any division and multiplication. And we always perform those operations from left to right as they appear in the problem. Then lastly, you do addition and subtraction. Again, you do those left to right. So now when I look at the given expression, I see that because there are no brackets, I would do division first. 2.4 divided by 2. Now if I look at the first step, I see that we still have the division symbol, meaning they didn't do that. We also have the subtraction and we also have the multiplication. That means that they must have added first. They did 6.3 plus 2.4. So that could be our first error. We'll say that they performed addition before division. So it looked like they were just reading it from left to right, as opposed to following the order of operations. So now let's continue on to see if there are any more errors. Well, between division, subtraction, and multiplication, division comes next. So in the next step, I see that we still have the multiplication and subtraction symbol. So they did indeed do division, so there's nothing wrong in that step. Then between subtraction and multiplication, they should do multiplication next. But because I still see the multiplication symbol here, they did not do multiplication, they subtracted. So that's the next error. They performed subtraction before multiplication. Again, they must have done the operations from left to right, as opposed to following the order of operations. So now let's go ahead and find the correct solution. So we'll start with the division, as I mentioned earlier. 2.4 divided by 2 is 1.2. Now you always have to write out the numbers in the order that they appear left to right. 6.3 plus, and then 1.2 minus 0.4 times 0.2. Now we have addition, subtraction, multiplication. We'll do multiplication next. So if I put that in the calculator, I get 0.08. Next we'll do addition because that appears before the subtraction. So doing that is 7.5. And then lastly we'll subtract to give us an answer of 7.42. All right, here we have another problem. So again, we have to find the error. So there's no brackets, so I will start with this division. But looking at their first step, since the division symbol is still there and the addition symbol is still there, it's the multiplication that they did. So that is their error. They perform multiplication before division. You always have to do them left to right. Since the division is first, you do that one first. So let's continue on. There's an addition and a division. You need to do division next, which they did because the addition symbol is still there, and then they added. So here there was only one mistake. So now let's do the correct solution. So we'll start off by dividing 9.2 with 2.3, and doing that on my calculator, I got 4. Next, we will multiply. 4 times 0.2 is 0.8. And then we'll add. So again, answer of 13.26. So hopefully you can see here why everyone needs to perform the same operations in the same order. If you do multiplication before division or division before multiplication, you do get different answers. Now in the last example, here we have a set of brackets. Now in the brackets we have two operations we need to perform. We need to do subtraction first and then addition. So what did they do? I noticed that they have the multiplication symbol still and they have their addition symbol still, so they did indeed do subtraction. But the problem is they dropped the brackets. They should have brackets around 8.6 and 2.9. You always have to complete all the operations in the brackets before you drop them. So let's write that down as our error. They did not complete all the operations in the brackets. So let's move on to their next step to see if they made any other errors. So between a multiplication and addition, you do multiplication next, which seems fine because there's an addition left, and then they add it. So that was their mistake. They dropped the brackets. So let's go ahead and figure out what the answer should be. Now my first step is going to look very similar to theirs, except that I've included the brackets around 8.6 and 2.9. Having the brackets there is important to ensure that you do the addition first, because without the brackets, as you saw on the left, they did the multiplication next. So now let's add 8.6 and 2.9, which gives me 11.5. And then multiplying, I get 80.5. So now we have finished our work on OR of operations. Be sure to complete the activities before moving on to the next section.